How do you write $1 million headline? So this video complements the original How do you write $1 million headline, and how it complements is I'm actually going to use a product, an example, and I'm going to show you how to create a headline for that. So the reason the headline is incredible, why do you think it's incredible? It's the most crucial element of every advertisement. Why do you think that is? Because if you can't get people in the door, right? If you can't get them to stop and look at your store, you might have the best restaurant, the best product, the best widget, whatever it is, the best smartphone. But if you can't get eyeballs to look at it, you're never going to make a profit. So basically, if you mess this up, it's like you're throwing all your money in the trash. No one wants to do that, right? Time to answer last video's trivia. So the question for you is, statistically, on average, how many people will read a headline and actually read the entire body, the whole message? So this might be good news or bad news, depending on how you look at it, okay? So if it is a headline with let's just say it has magnificent performance, okay? Then, this is like David Ogilvy, like, legends, right? This is like someone who's incredibly good at what they're doing, right? And they craft the perfect headline. Well, even the perfect headline realistically is going to get about 1 out of 10 people to actually read the body. All right, so don't beat yourself up if you're not getting like more than that. If you get 2 out of 10, that's like bonus. Anything beyond that's like amazing, right? But in most situations, based on what I've read, like the market test they've done, and just also based on experience, it's 1 out of 10 is pretty good. So it depends on what it is you're doing exactly, but that's not bad because you got to remember, the law of averages, and people are distracted, they're doing other things. So even if you have the perfect headline, not everyone's actually going to pay attention to it, but it's a good number to shoot for, and it's also important to think about why it's so important to have a good headline, because it's such a competitive world with the advertising and the marketing, and it's just like there's too much information, so you got to figure out a way to cut through all that. So this is our example, and what we're going to do is just remember this: for a product, how do we alienate, how do we grab attention, how do we create curiosity, and in the process of all of that, open up a loop in someone's mind, right? So a good tip is always use the active voice. If you use passive voice, it's kind of like putting their brain in a brain that's kind of reminiscent in something far away. It's not really applicable. Whereas active voice, you're using it in the real sense. Like, I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. If I said, I spoke to you yesterday, and then you said this, it's kind of boring, right? The brain turns off. If I say, hey, what's going on? See, that's active voice. And we want to use that in our copywriting, right? So there needs to be something unique about your product, okay? So this is why we don't want to market junk for that reason. If you just pick anything, then you're going to set yourself up for failure, because marketing, say just a regular broom, doesn't give you a whole lot to write with from a marketing standpoint. Now, of course you could, but there's just not much to a standard broom. So I used an example that I think is kind of unique, and it's interesting because it hasn't been invented yet, all right? But the idea is perfect. So I created a broom, and I said, imagine if there was a broom that as you swept, it not only killed, like, say, bacteria and viruses, it also had like some type of special property from NASA that could attract dust, right? So that's a superior product. That's a superior advantage. There's definitely something unique about it. Now it's easier to market, right? So remember, we want to alienate, right? So what did I do in the first headline that I created? Attention, clean freaks, right? So I'm alienating people who don't care about a clean house. So the people who do care, that's going to get their attention. Breaking new technology, right? So now we're grabbing attention. What are they talking about? What is this technology? From NASA, right? Built this electromagnetic broom, which traps dust and kills bacteria instantly. So the reason that's interesting is I'm saying, look, it's just released. It's used in space. So you can put a really cool image there. And how does it work, right? So now I've opened a loop. So that's important, right? We've alienated. So we want to like narrow down to like people who really care about cleanliness. So clean freaks, right? breaking new technology, we're grabbing attention. It's from NASA, so now it's like your curiosity is inspired, right? You're like, what in the world did they create? And also, I opened a loop. How does it work? Okay, so maybe it uses electromagnetic, but how does it work? And of course, if you're skeptical, I would be skeptical. I'd want to see it. Show it to me. Like let's see some video or some pictures or some proof. Question for you. Why is the goal of the headline to get to the next action? Do you remember? I spoke about this in the very beginning, the first video. So the goal of the headline is to get to the next action, because not only do we want to create curiosity, but you need to think of your potential customer. All right, remember, they're an individual. Don't think of a group. They're a person, right? So think of them as an individual driving in their car, and you're marketing something, all right? Say the business, okay? But let's pretend, it's something you want to sell, and it's inside your house. So we want to create curiosity and get them from the driveway, basically, like, let's see, okay, I'm driving along, I see this beautiful front lawn, and I go, wow, it's beautiful, and then I see a sign. And we want to create enough curiosity to get them from the driveway to the front door. So think about that. If you have a business, that could be someone driving down the street. Now we want to get them from the street to the parking lot, from the parking lot inside to actually go inside. So if you've ever driven by something and you said, well, that, like, I don't know, maybe I need something, whether it's dry cleaning or a restaurant, but you drive by it, but you don't really want to go inside, because if you go in there, maybe they're going to look at you funny, or you're going to feel obligated to buy something when you didn't really want to. You wanted to just learn about it. So what you're doing is you're basically helping them from a retail mindset. So think about that. If you're like a restaurant, what do? They put the restaurant on the outside sometimes with the menu, so people who are curious about the prices or what kind of food, they can see it without having to go inside. And then if they like it, they can go inside and feel more comfortable. So the next points compound the problem in a copywriting world to magnify the value of the solution. So this is where it's a little more of the marketing standpoint, especially in a digital world. If you're marketing online or Facebook or YouTube or some video, what you want to do is, after we get them from the street, which is the first initial headline, right? We created curiosity, we've alienated, we found the right customer. Now they're at the front door, let's get them closer. So the next thing we can do is focus on step B, which is compound the problem to magnify the benefit. Okay, so when I say the value, that's the what they're going to get out of it from the solution. So the solution is going to seem better when you remind them of the problem. If you don't talk about the problem, the solution doesn't seem that exciting. So first, let's address what's the problem with bacteria growing in your house, and bacteria and viruses and things like that. Well, it could create some terrible odors. And if you've ever walked in a house and it just smells bad, they haven't cleaned it properly, maybe they're not using enough bleach or sterile treatments or something like that. And then the second thing is, what if they are, and they have all these dangerous, expensive chemicals in the air? It's really like hard on the eyes, it's burning their eyeballs and their nostrils, and maybe it's not safe for children to play around or for pets to be smelling all that. And maybe you just don't want that in your lungs, right? So now, we're going to poke that, hate bad odors in your house, want to clean without dangerous and expensive chemicals, right? You're spending all this money on these cleaning products, these detergents, right? So now we want to focus on, remember, the big benefit and the promise. Now we're going to slam that big benefit and the promise right there. So get them in the fast lane, right? So this broom saves you energy. It reduces your back pain. You don't have to spend hours and hours bending over, right? And it gets rid of dust and bacteria in seconds. Isn't that a great thing? So think about that. You're getting rid of all that in seconds, instead of spending hours and hours sweeping over the same spot, and you just can't seem to get that, piece of dust, right? So basically what you've done is we've gone from the headline to basically the subheadline. And now we've moved them from the street to the front door, and now we're trying to get them in the house. So think about the house or the business, if you're more comfortable with that. Think about the house is like the body and the copy. Think about your headline. It's the announcer. It's the guy or girl standing out. Hey, extra, extra, read all about it. find out what happened to the president, what happened to the White House, the government, whatever it is, and you're trying to get them to buy that newspaper, right? Find out what happened to the stock market. It fell. Can you believe how much? Do you want to find out? It's $1, whatever it costs, $5 for the paper. So your headline is the announcer, getting the right people to your party. So your party, like I said, is your body, and it's also the call to the action. That's the ultimate goal of what you're going to want from them from signing up with you. Basically, signing up for you is going from the street to the door, inside the room. What do I get from going in this business or this house? What's the benefit? So that's where you're gonna get them to the next stage. Now, we're not talking about body or call to action right now, okay? But just to give you an idea, if it was, obviously you would like to sell this broom, right? Or maybe you think they're not ready. You can do 2 call to actions. First, you want to just get their email, which makes more sense because then you can keep in touch with them or some way of like connecting with them, but the email is like a good one. And then from there, you maybe have like an 8 email thing that's set up, and it educates people on how they can use it, different uses of it, and each one of those emails has some type of really good promotion where, say you really want to sell it for $19.99, okay, but you say it's listed as $39.99, but if you sign up for this email, you get it for half off, so $19.99. So you'll give them an incentive. First, if let's say they don't sign up for the email and they're not part of the members club or something, and make it free, of course. But then if they're not part of that, then they have to pay full retail. So it's in their best interest to sign up because you're going to give them $20 off. And then once they have that, then maybe they're not ready to buy that week or they're not really convinced on it, but you can keep in touch, and over drips, right? Just drips of water, maybe 8 emails or 10 emails, the course of like 8 weeks or 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, whether it's videos or something, maybe that's enough where they're like, this seems wonderful. This is a great idea. It's only $20. I'll do it. And that's the point of it, right? So remember the headline is your announcer. It's getting the right people to your party, and the party is your body and your call of action. So a quick reminder, you can always give me a call. I have a recorded message that's, there's no sales pitch or anything. It's just quick, great advice in a few seconds, 30 to 90 seconds. And the number is California number. It's Beverly Hills area code 1-424-394-1818. So save this in your star list. Give it a call every now and then. I update it once a week on Monday. And again, that number is 1-424-394-1818. And it's always a little nugget. It's really of wisdom. It's always a cool little trinket. So I would recommend you save that in your star list and just call it. And no one answers. It's just a great recording, and just something cool you can just put when you're driving and just want a little idea of like what's the thought of the week. All right, check it out. You'll like it. Our time for trivia. Why did Comcast CEO Brian Roberts run into some family trouble over a customer? This is actually funny and surprising at the same time. So find out in the next video what happened to this big head honcho CEO. How did he get in trouble? And you're going to like it. Trust me, it's funny. Communication Man signing out, reminding you of 3 critical things. All right, that's 1, 2, 3. So your purpose is calling you. So answer that call and fulfill your mission. Also, number 2, make small steps towards your calling and be more capable today than you were yesterday. And number 3, you and I are the ultimate problem solvers. So when the world runs from problems, what do? We run to them, we fix them, and make this world a better place. Now, I can't solve all the problems, you can't solve all the problems, but individually, you can solve some, and I can solve some. And if we all do that, this world's going to be like heaven on earth, right? So let's get out there and solve some ambitious problems and have fun in the process. So remember, you will never have the full picture, so go with what you have. It's plenty enough. This is my favorite part, the conversation starter question. So I always leave every video with a conversation starter, so this gives you a cool question you can talk to someone with. And remember, cool questions lead to better conversations. So if you want a better conversation, you need to think of something interesting to discuss. So the question for this video is, if you recorded a video of your current self for your 10-year-old self, what would you say? All right, so if you had the power right now, you could create a little video and say it's 2 minutes long, and you can create this video, or say it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes long. whatever you want. Okay, the point is make it short. Okay, so if you can make a video right now and say to your 10-year-old self, what would you say? So leave a comment in the below. That would be really fascinating to hear what you would say. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self? So for me, what I would say is, right now you might feel insecure or not confident, or you don't like things about life, but you're going to get confident. Don't worry. You're going to change things, and you're going to overcome everything that bothers you, and you're going to feel a lot better in the future. So don't worry so much about what people think of you, and don't worry so much about all the little things that you think are important. Just do your best, and you eventually make it. Right? So that's what I'd tell my 10-year-old self. So what would you tell your 10-year-old self? Please leave a comment. That would be really fascinating to hear. And have a wonderful day, and I appreciate you watching this. And subscribe, and you're awesome. Bye.